You did not imagine the silence. You did not misread the distance. What you walked through was not abandonment, it was examination. Beloved chosen one. There comes a season when God removes the familiar warmth, not because he is displeased, but because he is precise. He steps back just enough for your faith to stand on its own legs. No applause, no reassurance, no visible rescue. Only you, the promise, and the pressure. This is where faith stops being a feeling and becomes a decision. You wondered why prayers felt unanswered, why comfort vanished, why the joy you once felt seemed muted. You asked yourself if you had failed, if you had disappointed heaven. But listen carefully. Tests do not come to the uncalled. Refinement is reserved for what is valuable. God does not test what he plans to discard. He tests what he plans to trust with more. This first test was never about perfection. It was about posture. Would you still believe when nothing around you agreed with the promise? Would you still stand when obedience cost you approval, speed, and ease? Would you still whisper his name when the room felt empty? Heaven was watching how you moved when no one clapped, how you spoke when no one corrected you, how you chose when no one forced you. You were tempted to interpret silence as rejection. But silence was the classroom. Silence was the training ground. Silence was where your faith learned to breathe without signs. Many fall away here not because they stop believing in God, but because they stop believing God is still good when he is quiet. Yet you stayed. You may have limped, questioned, even wept, but you did not walk away. That alone separated you. This was the silent test, the one that exposes motives, the one that strips performance, the one that asks a single brutal question: if God never explains himself, will you still obey him? You were not given clarity because clarity would have interfered with formation. Explanations comfort the mind, but mystery strengthens the spirit. You had moments when your faith felt small. But small faith placed in a great God still moves heaven. What mattered was not how strong you felt, it was that you kept showing up. You kept choosing truth over impulse. You kept resisting bitterness. You kept your integrity when compromise could have sped things up. You kept praying even when it felt like your words hit the ceiling and fell back down. This is where many grow resentful. This is where many negotiate with God. This is where many quietly quit while still attending, still smiling, still pretending. But deep inside, something in you refused to let go. You did not need to announce it. Heaven heard it. Angels marked it. Your endurance spoke louder than your emotions ever could. The test was also about trust. Trusting God's timing when delay felt personal. Trusting God's character when circumstances felt cruel. Trusting that preparation was happening even when progress was invisible. You were being trained to walk without leaning on feelings. Because where you are going, feelings will not be reliable. Discernment will matter more than emotion. Obedience will matter more than comfort. You were being taught how to move without validation, how to stand without explanation, how to wait without losing your edge. God was strengthening internal muscles that applause never builds. This is why it felt lonely. This is why familiar voices faded. This is why some people could not follow you into this season. They were never meant to pass this test with you. You may not have realized it at the time. But heaven was measuring consistency. Not intensity consistency. Not your highs, your returns. Each time you got up again, each time you forgave again, each time you chose restraint again, each time you trusted again. The test was long because calling is heavy. What comes next requires someone who can endure weight without collapsing. As was written in the book of Isaiah, chapter 40, verse 31. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. That hope was not passive. It was active endurance. You hoped while walking. You trusted while waiting. You believed while carrying disappointment. And because of that, something was renewed in you quietly, steadily, deeply. You are not who you were when the test began. You are stronger in ways you cannot yet fully see. This section of your life was not meant to be impressive. It was meant to be effective. God was not showcasing you. He was shaping you. The silence was not absence. It was focus. And now, the test that almost broke you has proven you. If this message confirms what your spirit already knows, take a moment now like this message. Share it with someone walking through silence. Subscribe so you stay connected to what is coming next. And at the very end, comment the number 77 as a sign that you endured the test without quitting. The pressure was not accidental. Every delay, every closed door, every misunderstanding was calibrated. Nothing you walked through was random, and nothing was wasted. Faith under pressure is where belief is separated from convenience. It is easy to trust when outcomes are predictable. It is easy to praise when doors open quickly. But your faith was tested in uncertainty, stretched in waiting, and refined in contradiction. You discovered that pressure does not always arrive loudly. Sometimes it comes as repetition, the same struggle returning in a new form. Sometimes it comes as misunderstanding, being judged for motives you never had. Sometimes it comes as delay, watching others move ahead while you remain stationary. Pressure asked you again and again, do you trust God's process or only His outcomes? There were moments when obedience felt unrewarded. You did the right thing and still lost. You stayed honest and still suffered. You chose restraint and still felt overlooked. This is where shallow faith erodes. Many believe God is good until goodness becomes costly. But your faith was pushed past transaction. You were forced to decide whether God was still worthy even when obedience did not immediately pay. Pressure revealed what lived beneath your prayers. It showed whether your faith was rooted in relationship or results. You began to realize that God was less interested in speeding you up and more interested in grounding you. Speed without depth would have destroyed you later, so He allowed resistance now. You felt the weight of expectations, your own and others. You carried the burden of calling without clarity. You sensed there was more, yet you could not touch it. This tension was not punishment, it was preparation. Pressure does not create character, it reveals it. And what was revealed in you was endurance. There were days when faith felt mechanical. You prayed because you knew you should, not because you felt inspired. You showed up because discipline carried you when passion did not. This mattered more than you know. Heaven honors consistency when emotion runs dry. Angels are not moved by excitement, they are dispatched by obedience. Pressure also exposed attachments, things you leaned on too heavily. People whose approval mattered too much, outcomes you had quietly idolized. God allowed pressure to loosen your grip so He could strengthen your core. He was teaching you to draw identity from Him, not from progress, platforms, or praise. You learned how to carry unanswered questions without becoming bitter, how to live with tension without becoming cynical, how to hold hope without demanding timelines. This kind of faith is rare. It cannot be taught quickly. It must be forged. There were moments when you wanted to explain yourself, defend yourself, prove yourself. But pressure trained you in silence. Not the silence of fear, but the silence of trust. You learned that not every accusation deserves a response. And not every delay requires panic. You learned how to let God be your advocate. Faith under pressure stripped away spiritual performance. You stopped trying to sound strong and learned how to be strong. You stopped chasing confirmation and learned how to stand on conviction. What emerged was quieter but heavier faith with weight. This is why you were allowed to feel misunderstood. This is why clarity was delayed. This is why breakthroughs were partial, not complete. Partial victories taught you patience. Incomplete answers taught you humility. Ongoing pressure taught you perseverance. Pressure also taught you empathy. You now recognize suffering in others without needing explanations. You can sit with pain without trying to fix it. You understand what it costs to keep believing when circumstances argue back. This will matter later, when God entrusts you with people, influence, or responsibility. Authority without empathy crushes. Yours is being tempered. You may have wondered why God did not remove the pressure sooner, but removing it would have interrupted the work. Diamonds are not formed by relief. Muscles are not built by rest alone. Faith that will carry responsibility must first survive resistance. Through all of this, something in you matured. You stopped asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and started asking, "What is this producing in me?" That shift marked growth. Heaven noticed. As scripture reminds us in the book of James, chapter 1, verse 3, "The testing of your faith produces perseverance." That perseverance is not passive endurance, it is active resilience. It is the ability to keep choosing truth when lies feel easier, to keep obeying when shortcuts are available, to keep trusting when evidence is incomplete. This perseverance is now woven into you. It is no longer something you try to summon, it is part of who you are becoming. Faith under pressure has changed your posture. You no longer collapse at resistance, and you no longer panic at delay. You no longer need constant reassurance. You have learned how to stand. This section of your journey was not about breaking you. It was about proving what could not be shaken. And what remained after the pressure, that is what God will build on next. There is a kind of silence that unnerves the soul. Not the silence of rest, but the silence of waiting. This was the season when heaven went quiet, not because God stopped listening, but because He was teaching you how to walk without constant instruction. You were no longer being carried by visible signs, emotional reassurance, or timely confirmations. You were being trained to move by conviction alone. When heaven went quiet, it exposed how much you relied on spiritual noise. Before answers came quickly, direction felt clear, doors opened with minimal resistance. But now, the stillness forced you inward. You had to listen more carefully, discern more deeply, and trust more fully. This was not abandonment. This was advancement. Silence removes crutches. It strips away dependence on feelings. It reveals whether your faith is anchored in God's voice or God's volume. Many can follow when instructions are loud. Few can remain faithful when God whispers or says nothing at all. You searched yourself during this time. You replayed past words, promises, and moments when God had spoken clearly. You learned how to live off what He said before when He was not speaking now. This is maturity. This is how faith transitions from excitement to endurance. The quiet also confronted impatience. You wanted movement. You wanted confirmation. You wanted relief. But silence demanded stillness. It asked you to wait without timelines, to trust without updates, to obey without explanation. This kind of obedience is costly. It feels inefficient. It feels risky. But it is powerful. In the quiet, distractions lost their appeal. Noise no longer satisfied. You became more aware of what drained you and what strengthened you. Silence sharpened discernment. You noticed subtle compromises you once overlooked. You sensed misalignment faster. You learned when to step back instead of pushing forward. Heaven's silence was not empty. It was intentional. God was teaching you how to hear Him beyond circumstances, beyond emotions, beyond urgency. You were learning the language of trust. This was also the season where doubt tried to masquerade as logic. Questions came uninvited. What if you misunderstood? What if you waited too long? What if nothing changes? These thoughts did not mean your faith was weak. They meant it was being challenged. Silence often amplifies internal voices, and you had to choose which ones deserved authority. You discovered that faith does not always feel brave. Sometimes it feels quiet. Sometimes it feels stubborn. Sometimes it feels like putting one foot in front of the other with no emotional reward. But this is where faith becomes reliable. In the silence, you were being prepared to lead without needing constant affirmation, to stand without needing applause, to make decisions rooted in principle, not pressure. God was removing your dependence on spiritual adrenaline so you could develop spiritual stability. You also learned restraint. Silence taught you not to rush outcomes, not to force doors, not to speak prematurely. You learned the power of holding back when every instinct wanted to act. This restraint will protect you later when opportunities arrive quickly and tempt you to move faster than wisdom allows. There were moments when you felt exposed, like your prayers echoed back unanswered. But even then, something in you remained steady. You did not walk away. You did not replace God with distractions. You stayed present. That mattered. Silence taught you to value presence over progress, to trust character over circumstances, to believe that God was working even when you could not trace Him. This kind of faith does not panic when heaven is quiet. It listens harder. As the apostle reminds us in his letter to the Corinthians chapter 5, verse 7, "For we walk by faith, not by sight." That walk is slow sometimes, unimpressive, hidden, but it is forward. You kept walking, even when vision blurred, even when emotions dulled, even when answers delayed. You kept moving in alignment with what you knew was true. Each step felt ordinary, yet heaven recorded it as courage. Progress looked invisible, but alignment was forming beneath the surface. You were not stagnant, you were steady. Consistency replaced urgency. Faith matured quietly, strengthening muscles no applause could train, preparing you to carry future weight without collapsing when momentum slows again, and teaching resilience that endures seasons of delay faithfully. This section of your journey was not about getting new revelation. It was about honoring old revelation, walking out what God had already said, proving that His word was enough, even without updates. Before moving on, there is a small but meaningful act I want you to take. At the very end of this message, comment the phrase, "Still I trust." This is not for visibility or performance. It is a declaration. It means you trust God even when He is quiet, even when answers delay, even when sight offers no reassurance. Writing it is a way of aligning your words with the posture you have already been living. The silence did not break you. It built you, and because you learned how to walk without sight, you are ready for what comes next. There comes a moment when the test sharpens into a choice. Not a dramatic crossroads with flashing signs, but a quiet decision made in the private chambers of your will. This was that moment. Pain had accumulated. Fatigue had set in. Temptation whispered alternatives that looked easier, faster, more reasonable. And yet, against logic, against emotion, Against self-interest, you chose obedience anyway. Obedience is rarely glamorous. It often feels like loss before it feels like alignment. You obeyed when clarity was incomplete. You obeyed when others advised compromise. You obeyed when disobedience could have given you immediate relief. That is what made it costly, and that is what made it sacred. You were not obeying blindly. You were obeying faithfully. There is a difference. Blind obedience ignores wisdom. Faithful obedience clings to truth even when the outcome is unclear. You weighed the cost, felt the fear, acknowledged the risk, and still chose to honor God. Heaven recognizes that kind of courage. This section of your journey refined your integrity. Integrity is not proven in public victories, but in private decisions, when no one would have known, when excuses were available, when shortcuts felt justified. You chose the narrow path, not because it was easy, but because it was right. Obedience required restraint. You had to say no when everything in you wanted to say yes. You had to wait when urgency screamed move. You had to hold your tongue when defending yourself felt necessary. These moments were not wasted. They trained you in self-governance. A person who cannot govern themselves cannot be trusted with authority. You also learned that obedience does not always feel peaceful at first. Sometimes it feels like grief over what you had to release. Grief over timelines that did not match your hopes. Grief over versions of yourself that could not come with you. But obedience clears space. What you let go of made room for what is coming. There were internal battles no one saw. You wrestled with thoughts that questioned whether obedience was worth it. You wondered if you were being foolish, too rigid, too patient. Yet each time, something deeper steadied you. Conviction overruled comfort. Calling overruled convenience. This was the season where character outran charisma, where depth mattered more than visibility. God was less concerned with how impressive you looked and more concerned with how trustworthy you were becoming. Obedience proved trustworthiness. You also discovered that obedience protects you from future regret. Disobedience may offer speed, but it always sends a bill later. You chose obedience, and though it felt slow, it preserved your peace. You did not have to build on guilt, fear, or compromise. You built on alignment. Obedience aligned you with timing. You stopped forcing doors. You stopped manipulating outcomes, though you trusted God's sequencing. This protected you from stepping into rooms before you were ready or inheriting blessings you were not prepared to sustain. You were being shaped into someone who could be trusted when no one is watching. Someone who does not need pressure to do what is right. Someone who obeys not out of fear, but out of reverence. This kind of obedience carries authority, and it was noticed. As the ancient words declare in the first book of Samuel, chapter 15, verse 22, to obey is better than sacrifice. Sacrifice impresses people. Obedience pleases God. You could have offered activity, noise, appearance, but God wanted your will, and you gave it. That is why this section mattered so deeply. You may not have seen immediate reward. Obedience often delays gratification, but it accelerates trust. Heaven began to entrust you with more insight, more discernment, more weight. Quietly, doors began aligning that could not open before. This is also where your faith became transferable. Others may not know your full story, but they feel your steadiness. They sense your clarity. They trust your words because your life carries coherence. Obedience gave your faith substance. As this message continues to unfold, if these words resonate with your own journey, if you recognize yourself in this choice for obedience, I invite you, gently and sincerely, to stay connected. Liking this message helps it reach others who are standing at the same crossroads. Sharing it may be the confirmation someone else needs. And subscribing keeps you aligned with what is still unfolding in this series. Not out of obligation, but out of shared direction. You did not choose the easy way. You chose the right way, and that choice has positioned you. Obedience was not the end of your struggle, it was the turning point. What comes next is not earned by striving, but unlocked by faithfulness. And you have proven yourself faithful. There is a moment that happens far beyond human visibility. No announcement, no sound, no dramatic shift in the natural. And yet, everything changes. This is the moment you passed. Not when circumstances improved, not when people apologized, not when rewards appeared, but when heaven rendered its verdict. You passed when endurance outlasted frustration. You passed when faith survived disappointment. You passed when obedience remained intact even after hope felt delayed. This section is not about what you did publicly. It is about what you sustained privately. Heaven measures differently than people do. While others look for visible success, God looks for internal stability. While people reward speed, heaven honors endurance. And when the test was complete, the record was sealed. You did not pass because you were flawless. You passed because you were faithful. You returned to truth even after doubt knocked. You chose alignment even after weariness set in. You corrected your posture instead of hardening your heart. That mattered. There were moments you could have grown resentful. You had justification, you had evidence, you had witnesses, yet you chose not to poison your spirit. You refused to let bitterness become your language. That decision alone separated you from many who started strong but finished compromised. Passing the test did not mean the pain instantly disappeared. It meant the pain no longer controlled you. It meant disappointment lost its authority. It meant delay no longer defined your worth. You were no longer being shaped by what you lacked, but anchored by what you believed. Heaven saw the way you handled delay, the way you treated people who misunderstood you, the way you spoke when you could have accused, the way you waited without manipulating outcomes. These were not small things, and these were weight-bearing decisions, and they qualified you. Many assume promotion comes when struggle ends, but in the kingdom, promotion begins when struggle no longer changes your character, when pressure fails to corrupt you, when waiting fails to weaken you, when silence fails to move you out of alignment. This is why the moment you passed felt quiet. Heaven does not celebrate with noise what it seals with authority. The shift was internal first. Something lifted. Something settled. Something resolved. You noticed you were no longer striving the same way. You were no longer anxious the same way. You were no longer begging God for reassurance the same way. That was the evidence. You passed when your prayers changed from when to prepare me. You passed when your posture shifted from resistance to readiness. You passed when obedience became natural, not forced. The test was never designed to disqualify you. It was designed to prepare you for weight. Authority without endurance destroys people. Influence without integrity corrupts people. Visibility without depth exposes people. God refused to let that happen to you. Passing the test also means heaven now trusts your discernment more than before. You can sense misalignment quicker. You recognize warning signs sooner. You feel restraint when something looks good but isn't God. That is not fear, it is maturity. You are no longer easily impressed. You are no longer easily rushed. You are no longer easily shaken. This is what passing looks like. As Scripture declares in the book of James in chapter 1, verse 12. Blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, because having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life that the Lord has promised to those who love him. Notice the order. Perseverance comes before the crown. Standing comes before receiving. You stood, even when it cost you comfort, even when it delayed reward, even when no one was validating your choice. Heaven did not overlook that. Passing also means the accusations that once held weight no longer carry authority. The cycles that once repeated are now broken. The lessons that once had to be repeated are now completed. You do not need to relive what you already learned. You may still face challenges, but not the same tests. What is coming next will require strength, not survival, discernment, not desperation, leadership, not learning by failure. This is the shift. And here is something important: passing does not inflate ego. It deepens humility. You know what it cost. You know how close you came to quitting. You know how dependent you were on grace. That awareness will keep you grounded as doors open. You are now trusted with timing, trusted with influence, trusted with responsibility. Not because you demanded it, but because you endured. At the end of this section, there is a simple act I invite you to take. Comment the number 212. This number represents alignment after testing the moment when endurance has finished its work and a new assignment is ready to begin. It is not ritual. It is recognition. A quiet acknowledgement that you remained standing until the verdict was released. You passed. The test is complete. And what comes next will require the very strength you gained here. The shift did not arrive with noise. It arrived with clarity. After proven faith, promotion begins quietly, almost invisibly, because God promotes from the inside out. Before authority shows on the outside, it settles on the inside. Before doors open publicly, vision sharpens privately. You are not suddenly different. You are decisively aligned. Promotion in the kingdom is not about elevation above others. It is about alignment with responsibility. God does not raise you to impress people. He raises you to serve purpose. This is why the promotion feels heavier before it feels brighter. You are now aware of consequences. You think longer before acting. You sense weight where others sense excitement. This is not hesitation, it is stewardship. After the test, discernment increases. You notice what no longer fits. Conversations that once energized you now feel draining. Opportunities that once tempted you now feel misaligned. You are not becoming distant, you are becoming precise. Promotion refines focus. It reduces tolerance for distraction. It simplifies desire. You are also more aware of timing. You no longer rush God. You no longer panic when progress seems slow. You understand that authority grows roots before it grows branches. This patience is not passive. It is strategic. You are learning to move when heaven moves, not when pressure demands. Promotion after proven faith also brings clarity of assignment. You may not have the full picture yet, but you sense direction. You know what you are not called to do, and that alone is a form of guidance. Boundaries become clearer. Your no becomes stronger, and your yes becomes rarer but more powerful. God begins to entrust you with insight, not to inflate you, but to equip you. You see patterns others miss. You recognize motives beneath words. You sense danger before it announces itself. This awareness is part of your promotion. It protects you and those connected to you. With promotion comes authority, but authority first manifests as restraint. You feel less need to prove yourself, less urgency to explain, less desire to compete. You are not shrinking. You are stabilizing. Authority that needs to announce itself is not yet secure. Yours is settling into place. You also notice a shift in how challenges affect you. They still come, but they no longer destabilize you. You respond rather than react. You assess rather than panic. You have learned that not every battle requires immediate engagement. Wisdom now leads where emotion once rushed. Promotion also reorders relationships. Some connections naturally fall away, not through conflict, but through misalignment. Others emerge quietly. People who recognize depth rather than noise. You are being surrounded not by flatterers, but by those who respect weight. This is intentional. Authority requires counsel, not crowds. You are also learning how to carry blessing without letting it define you. Promotion does not intoxicate you. It humbles you. You remember the test. You remember the silence. You remember the pressure. That memory keeps you grounded. Gratitude replaces entitlement. There is also an increased sensitivity to responsibility. You feel accountable for your words, your tone, your timing. You understand that influence, even unspoken, shapes environments. This awareness is part of your promotion. God is training you to steward atmospheres, not just outcomes. You may notice that God corrects you more quickly now, not because you are failing, but because you are trusted. Quick correction is a sign of closeness. It keeps you aligned and protects what has been entrusted to you. You respond faster, adjust quicker, and move on without resistance. That responsiveness is maturity. Promotion also brings clarity in prayer. You no longer pray only for relief, you pray for alignment. You ask different questions, or you seek wisdom over speed. You listen more than you speak. Prayer becomes less emotional and more intentional. This is not dryness. It is depth, as heaven speaks clearly through the words in Deuteronomy. Chapter 28, verse 13. The Lord will make you the head, not the tail. You will only move upward and never downward, if you obey the commands of the Lord your God. Notice the condition is obedience, not ambition. Your promotion is the result of alignment, not striving. You did not force your way upward. You were positioned upward. That difference matters. After proven faith, God also begins to prepare you for visibility carefully, gradually. Exposure comes in layers. Responsibility increases before recognition does. This protects you. Sudden visibility without inner stability destroys people. God refuses to waste what He refined. You are learning how to carry authority with gentleness, how to correct without crushing, how to lead without controlling, how to influence without manipulating. These skills are not learned in crowds. They are forged in character. Promotion does not remove dependence on God. It deepens it. You are more aware than ever that without Him, clarity fades. You stay close not out of fear, but out of wisdom. You know where your strength comes from. This section of your journey is about consolidation. What was learned is now being applied. What was tested is now being trusted. What was formed is now being positioned. You are not waiting anymore. You are being placed. And the placement is precise. You are no longer stepping forward as someone searching for confirmation. You are stepping forward as someone commissioned. This final movement is not about proving anything, it is about carrying what has already been proven. You are entering the reward phase, not as compensation for suffering, but as confirmation of calling. You move now with quiet authority, not urgency. Decisions come from alignment, not anxiety. You are no longer trying to convince heaven of your readiness. Heaven has already confirmed it. What guides you forward is not pressure to succeed, but confidence rooted in obedience that has already been tested and approved. Your steps are measured because you understand weight. You know that influence shapes lives, not just outcomes. This awareness keeps you humble and focused. You no longer chase recognition because purpose has replaced ego. You are content to build slowly, faithfully, knowing endurance has already secured your position. What unfolds next will feel intentional, not rushed. You will recognize doors by peace, not excitement. You will know when to speak and when to remain silent. This discernment is evidence of growth. You are not guessing anymore, you are moving with the clarity earned through refinement. Reward in God's kingdom is not merely material or visible, it is alignment. It is peace that is not fragile. It is clarity that does not evaporate under pressure. It is authority that does not need permission from people. You feel it now, a steadiness, a readiness, a quiet confidence that was not there before. This is not pride. This is placement. Stepping into reward does not erase memory. You remember the silence. You remember the weight. You remember how close quitting felt. Those memories do not weaken you. They anchor you. They ensure that what you carry next is stewarded with humility. You know the cost of refinement, and you respect the weight of what has been entrusted to you. Your calling is no longer abstract. It is forming shape. You may not see every detail, but you recognize the direction. You know what aligns and what does not. You sense when to move and when to wait. This discernment is part of the reward. Many desire outcomes, but few are prepared for the responsibility that comes with them. You are also learning that reward does not isolate you, it positions you to serve more effectively. What God gives you is meant to flow through you. Your endurance now becomes a refuge for others. Your steadiness becomes permission for others to stand. Your story, even unspoken, carries weight and spoken. There is also restoration here, not always by returning what was lost, but by replacing it with something stronger. God does not simply give back, He gives forward. What you gain next will not mirror what you lost. It will surpass it in purpose. Loss trained you. Reward deploys you. You are stepping into a season where obedience feels less forced and more natural. Alignment no longer feels like resistance. It feels like relief. You are not striving to hear God, you are accustomed to His rhythm. This familiarity is not casual. It is cultivated. You are also becoming aware that calling requires courage, not noise. You will be asked to stand firm in rooms where compromise is normalized. You will be trusted to speak truth without aggression, to carry conviction without arrogance. This balance was forged in the fire you already walked through. The crown you carry is not decorative, it is functional. Authority to build, wisdom to guide, discernment to protect, compassion to lead. You were not crowned to be admired, you were crowned to be effective, as Jesus Himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 25, verse 21. Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Come and share your master's happiness. That joy is not shallow happiness. It is the joy of alignment, the joy of knowing you did not betray your assignment, the joy of finishing a season without losing yourself. That joy now becomes strength for what lies ahead. As this journey reaches its completion, I want to speak plainly and sincerely. If this message has walked with you, if it has given language to what your spirit already sensed, then stay connected. A simple like helps this reach others who are still in the testing phase. Sharing it may be the confirmation someone else needs to keep standing. Subscribing is not about numbers. It is about continuing the path together. Message by message, step by step. You are not late. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are sent. What comes next will not ask you to survive. It will ask you to lead. And you are ready. Take a breath here. Let the weight of this journey settle not as burden, but as meaning. You were never meant to rush through these seasons. Each one carved capacity into you. Each delay deepened your roots. Each test refined your sight. Nothing was accidental. You are not the same person who began this walk. You see differently now. You listen more carefully. You move with intention. These are quiet signs of transformation that no one can take from you. Even if circumstances shift again, what was built inside you remains. Remember, this calling is not proven by how loudly you declare it, but by how faithfully you carry it. You have carried it through silence, pressure, obedience, endurance, promotion, and now commissioning. That sequence matters. It protects you. As you move forward, do not measure success by comparison. Measure it by alignment. Do not chase speed, honor timing. Do not seek visibility, steward responsibility. Stay anchored in what you know to be true. There will still be challenges, but not the same ones. There will still be growth, but not the same pain. You are equipped now, grounded, aware, ready. Walk forward with humility and confidence held together. That balance will keep you safe. Let gratitude remain your language and obedience your compass. You do not need to force what God has already positioned. This chapter closes not with noise, but with authority.